Alright, so this is another review of a snail shell figure. This is Zombie Girl Grisa, RPG-03. So, just got this one from Gundamit, and I paid about 54 bucks for it. Now, if you are interested in this figure, she is pretty hard to find on the mainstream sites. I think she's out of stock on Gundamit. Same thing on 5K Toys and some other Japanese sites like HobbyLink. So, there is demand for this one for sure. So if you are interested in her, I would recommend AliExpress, and I do buy from AliExpress regularly. So I will put a link up. There's still, from what I've seen as of me making this video, there's a bunch of sellers still selling her and at a much better price also. Just make sure you find a seller who's at least 95%-ish sure up, if you just want to avoid any risk. But I haven't had any issues with AliExpress. Anyway, so this is a new release from Snail Shell. And let's get right into the review. So let's just get a good look at her. So her name is Grisa. This is honestly probably one of my most preferred themes, just like the Halloween, kind of like zombified, vampires, all that stuff. So this one was a must for me. And I have to say, this figure looks really good up close, and exceptional detail everywhere. And Snail Shell is usually just great in general with their detail work, and she's no exception. So very nice kind of dead pale blue ashen skin tone. There is very nice shading on it, as you can plainly see. And yeah, I think they did a really nice job with it. Even like on her wraps and things like that, there's definitely a wash going on in them. So very nicely done. And it really makes a difference when you have them like on the shelf. You can just kind of really appreciate the little details like that. Yeah, so she looks great. She looks exceptional. And I will show you the other faces she comes with, because they're great also. And yeah, very nice work all around. I really like kind of like this saturated blue underneath her. I guess that's her hair. Yeah. So anyway, let's stand her up here, and I'll just give you a few measurements. Get the camera focused on her. All right, so she's, looks like she's on the shorter side, but let's see. Definitely 1/12 scale, as all snail shells are. Oh, I stand corrected. She's got some height on her. Okay, so she's like 6 inches flat. That's, this whole time I thought she was like 5.5, but yeah, she's 6 inches, so definitely got good height on her. Okay, and let's see how much she weighs. Let's get her on the scale. She's pretty heavy, like 2.57 ounces. Usually 1/12 female figures I've seen, they were usually around like 1.7-ish, 1.6 ounces. To give you an idea, yeah, she's definitely on the kind of beefier side, which is, I like that. So that feels more premium in my mind. It's just kind of like another aspect that I like. So heavier figures are always a plus for me. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's just take a look at her articulation. So head is on a very nice ball peg, and this is what I like about Snail Shell. They put thought into the articulation. Her hair is pretty substantial, like you could plainly tell it's a big part of the overall look, but they sculpted it in a way where it doesn't get in the way of her head articulation, so she could swivel any which way because they left a lot of space around like her bangs coming down here and like her hair flowing backwards. So really nice head movement there. So they're obviously thinking. They didn't sculpt in like a hard plastic piece that can't move. That's good. Okay, typical snail shell type joint for the shoulders, just like a ball peg in there. And very similar to the type of stuff you'd see on like Figmas and things like that. So that's good. And by the way, I didn't heat up this figure. I didn't do anything with it. Just very smooth articulation, I think. So yeah, her arms come up about that high. Yeah, that's about it. Nice double joint. These wraps could come off, by the way. You don't need to, so you could probably get a little bit more movement out of that. But even then, They're like free-floating pieces, so no real issues there. I think that elbow looks decent enough. Not ugly at all. And, there's only so much you could do with, like, kind of like female arms. They're tiny in general, so I think they did pretty good there. Ball swivel for the wrist. They do kind of use that annoying... I kind of griped about this in another review I did, I think with that snail shell. They use like a diagonal cut. I don't like that. But, as with any ball swivel wrist, just be careful. Be mindful of how you move it. But the diagonal does make it a bit more confusing, in my opinion. I'm not sure why they do it like that. Okay, nice organic articulation on the upper torso. So side to side about that much. I think there's just like a ball peg in there. Yeah, so can't go forward much at all. But backwards, not so much either. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so no lower articulation here, which I think is a little unfortunate. I think Snail Shell is talented enough. They could probably work something in there without messing up the overall look. Her legs. Okay, this is one of the things I hate most about Snail Shell. I'll give you a good look at this joint. Let me see if I can get more. You see that they kind of use like a L-shaped barbell joint in there, and it's very unnecessary. It's just overcomplicated, and there's some things it does very poorly. So if you could see that, it's like a L-shaped barbell joint, and it's supposed to give you more articulation. I'm not seeing it. Like, there's not a whole lot in terms of benefit you're getting. And if anything, it's more annoying because it makes her legs wobble a lot, whereas normally it wouldn't if you just had a plain kind of like ball peg sticking out like that, which is more stable. So see, when you're trying to get her to stand, sometimes her legs tend to give out a little bit. And it's a little bit annoying. Not terribly, though, because I think they did a pretty good job with the joint tolerances. Like, there's no real flippity-floppiness, but her legs could have been more stable than they are right now. Like, they just have that tendency to, like, kind of spread apart a little bit. Little looser than I would like. Nothing terrible, but the reason I'm complaining is because there's no reason to do this type of joint. Like, I don't see any benefit. And if anything, it's a little bit harder to get her leg up. Like, it takes a little bit of finagling, whereas normally you wouldn't need to. So, little unnecessary there, not a huge deal. For some people, it's a non-issue. Just wanted to make you aware anyway. Okay, so yeah, for her legs, let's continue there. I'll just show you how much she can do. And, they do work. It's just that I feel like it's just a little overcomplicated for no reason. Like, a regular ball joint there would have done the same thing. Yeah, you do get a nice swivel on that. So, good thigh swivel, and then you get a secondary one too. True thigh swivel here. Blended in nicely too. And it's a little tricky getting her legs to kick out straight because of the way they did that joint, but you can do it as much as her sculpt will allow. With like the curves and things, that's about how much you're going to get, which is fine in my opinion. You can always swivel her thigh to get it straight out too. So it works. Okay. Her knees, very nice double bend. Expect nothing less from Snail Shell. Forget that. So she just has the typical kind of like ankle swivel, kind of like that swiveling joint, ball swivel for the ankles. It works. Very nice ankle rocker there too. So that's good. I like this one because no high heels. I hate the high heels on any figure. Yeah, so pretty good articulation overall. Nothing unusual here. So she works. Typical Snail Shell stuff. Okay, let's just leave her in a zombie pose. So. Yeah, all right, and let's take a look at her accessories. So I'll just tell you everything she comes with. All right, so she does come with a stand. I'm not going to bore you with the details. It's just typical stand. It looks pretty nice, I'd say. Like, that base looks pretty good. You get the arm attachments, all that stuff. I'm not going to show that. That's not really interesting. If you've owned Snail Shells, you know they always come with this. This is to adjust her eyes on the behind the faceplate. And you could use it as like an accessory too. Use it as like a wand or whatever. I guess that's the intention. And let me show you her alternate faces and how easy it is to swap them out. Oh, didn't take this one out of a little plastic. Okay, so you do get this face. And I find this character just hilarious. Like, you gotta wonder what happened to her. It's just a funny character, in my opinion. So that face, I think, captures the essence of the character. Like, she probably doesn't even know why she's a zombie. This is kind of the overall feel I get with this figure, which I think is funny. And yeah, very easy to replace the faces on this one. And with Snail Shell, it's just no fuss, which is why I like them. Yeah, and there it is, done. These eyebrows could move, by the way. So you could get really kind of like whatever facial expressions you want. Her little eyebrows here, those could swivel and rotate. So that's a good zombie face, I think. Very nice. And yeah, no trouble getting her to stand, as you can see. All right. And let me show you her other face that she comes with. This one is pretty cool, I think. Let's get the camera to focus. So yeah, I like this one. This one's probably my favorite with the yellow eyes. So that looks great. Pretty creepy. That's a nice one. All right, so let's leave that here. So yeah, just 3 faces in total, including the one I showed in the beginning. Another reason I like Snail Shell, they give you replacements for the joints that are most likely to break. And I haven't had a single joint break on me for all the Snail Shells I've owned. Yeah, so those are for her wrists. Yeah, and I think these are the same as her ankles. So if you snap her ankles by any chance, you're basically covered, which is really good peace of mind. And, just go easy with your figures in general. Don't torque on them and all that stuff. Warm them up, but don't use boiling water. All right, let's go over her hands. So it does come with like generic kind of grabby hands here. So you can see that. Pretty big grip on those, yeah. You get 2 of those, obviously. You do get fists. So she's got big hands, so that's pretty funny. Like, very big hands for a female figure, which I think is right in line with her overall look. Definitely a cartoonish character. And this one's a very appropriate accessory. You could switch her arm out with just this kind of stump. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and just to show you, if you wanted to really make her look like a zombie, you 100% can. You could just give her like a bone stump of an arm. So you do have that option. And yeah, this is her alternate piece. You do get this kind of like rock attachment, and you could actually just plug her arm into this. So you can make it look like some movie scene, like her hand coming out of the ground or whatever. So yeah, it took a bit of finagling, but let me just show you what you can do with her arm. So just so you know, and just so you don't have to fiddle around with this if you get this figure. The bandages do come off her arm, very tightly fitted, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, you could get it off, use hot water or warm water. And yeah, you could kind of get those bandages off her arm. And you're going to need to if you want to use this little rock accessory. Very simple, you just plug her hand right in like that. So it's definitely worth it. Now you can do zombie stuff like that. So that's really cool. That's sick. So whoever thought of that really did their homework on this figure. That's great. So that looks sick as hell. And you can just go crazy with that. So very cool accessory. Definitely a must for a zombie figure. All right. So in terms of accessories, that's really about it, other than just the stand pieces that she comes with. So I think that's enough for sure. I would have liked if she came with like some sick zombie sword or some undead sword, that would have been, I would have honestly paid extra for that. But not a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. So if you want to get her on AliExpress. That's my recommendation. And yeah, get her quick, because I can tell this one's pretty popular, and for good reason. She's probably my favorite snail shell at this point. She's exceptional in terms of just quality, overall smoothness, the look of her. I'm obviously biased. I like the Halloween stuff, creepy stuff in general. So yeah, definitely get her if you want her. Excellent figure. Easily the best snail shell so far, in my opinion. Yeah, and that's about it. All right, so thanks for watching, and take care.